Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here in the Oscar Internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for January 8th, 2023, with your host, Peacemaker2448, and Run It Up Salon.
Hi. This is definitely 3 episodes.
This is a lot of things that just makes me go, God damn it, I was so stupid as a kid. Why did I like this show?
Because apparently it seemed better then.
Apparently. What's worse is I started with Beast Wars and then got to here. But also had to go through Beast Machines, which, I know looking back on that was not a good show.
Yeah, but I mean, Beast Wars wasn't too bad though.
Right, but Beast Machines was starting out of, oh yeah, you know all that stuff we did with Beast Wars? Let's do something different. I do mean, like, that is literally from, like, the writers and stuff's mouths of, we're trying to do something very different from what we did with Beast Wars. And oh boy, did it not work.
Yeah, but Beast Wars was fine.
I mean, I stand on the hill that says Beast Wars is better than the entirety of G1. And I'm sure someone's gonna be mad about that.
I mean, probably.
But yeah, it's more Armada 5 through 8. But before that, I guess continuing our Geats talk from the pre-show. So, the line, for those wondering, that has me like confused in like a good way, because I'm like, wait, what do you mean by that? So 2 of the sponsor people are talking about Ace, and they're like, they don't want him to keep digging because they don't believe him in him saying that his mom was this Itsune? Is her name right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. They don't believe him. And I'm like, wait. So you acknowledge that she exists, which we've already got that confirmation and stuff, but you don't believe he's actually looking for her. Why? What? Why is that? Is it because, like, you know she never had a kid? Or is it just because you know Ace lies all the time? So it's like, of course he's lying about this. I don't know what to think. This is the curveball that has hit me directly in the head, and I'm left baffled.
The only thing I can think of with that, from what we've seen of his flashbacks and from what he's said about how long he's been in the GDP. I mean DGP. I inverted those, I realized after the words came out of my mouth. There's no physical way that he should be able to be alive and also be her son.
Right.
So maybe it's a case of that has them skeptical. Coupled with the fact that he does like to manipulate.
Right. But
the only thing I can think of is one of the first DGPs, his desire was to live forever.
Yeah.
That would then confuse any newer sponsors that may not have dug through every bit of his history.
Right.
And say his mom were completely accurate and his mom was the previous navigator. She would have had access to making information disappear.
True. Because she's not beholden to the rules of the BGP if she doesn't desire it. We saw that with Samiri.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is what's making me really like Geese, because I'm like, okay, clearly they have a plan, they have something deeper going on and stuff. It's just execution now.
And what's funny is the closer we get to certain things, they don't try to pad it out. They're just like, oh, yeah, everyone sees this? Okay, we're doing our plan now just to prove you wrong.
Yeah. Claire literally just shows up with his belt for 2 episodes and gets off because he's like, oh, fuck this, man, I'm doing it myself. I'm tired of this.
That, the fact that they were setting up horribly for Ace to be killed, and it didn't happen. It's one of those, they're setting up stuff to try to be clear as day on where they're going, and then they're immediately trying to do the opposite.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're not at the point of knowing exactly why they're saying that, more just in the speculation of the pieces that could have went together.
Yeah, that's all we've got is just these disparate pieces. And even pieces that I don't think we're supposed to really connect together, but I feel like we're supposed to, with like other people's wishes in relation to Ace's wish, because I feel like that's the reason they keep telling us everybody's wishes, regardless of if they win or not. Because again, we haven't hit on anyone else that tried a wish, didn't work, and then got this.
Mm-hmm.
Because they also keep letting Ace wish for more and more ridiculous bullshit, and it's like, all you gotta do is let him have the one wish and be done, and he would literally fuck off and never bother you again.
But no, can't do that. Because it might tear everything from the ground up.
But why? What?
Yeah.
Why though?
What are they trying to hide is what I don't understand.
Yeah.
And I couple that with, are they intentionally trying to hide it, or have they been told they have to hide this?
It feels like, at least for Samiri, she's told she has to hide this.
At least from her, but we also don't know if that's because of the previous Game Master.
Yeah.
For all we know, he might have been the one to tell her not to say anything because he knew more.
Mm-hmm.
But since we also know that he's not the top, that the sponsors were even above him, because, you know, easy enough to replace.
Yeah.
Who's told them not to let this information go?
Yeah.
And is it something that they're grandfathered in on not letting the information go, or is it something they actually know?
Mm-hmm.
Because that conversation makes me lean towards they don't actually know. They've been told from their predecessor not to let this information to anyone.
Mm-hmm. I also like to remind everyone, we still have a main villain, I think. Do we have I don't feel like we have a main villain of this show still. 16 episodes in.
That doesn't surprise me, though.
Yeah.
Because technically at this part in Geats, we didn't either.
You mean in Revice?
I mean, yeah, Revice. We didn't either. The Dead Man's was kind of just the de facto villain group.
Right, but even then, it's just like, we know the Yamato are just things that the writers get thrown against. They don't really have a will of their own yet.
But who's manipulating them?
Right, it's Gardner friend over here.
That clearly is part of the DGP.
Right, but he's going rogue seemingly because he's like, oh, fuck the writers, they suck.
Is he?
That's what he keeps saying.
He's going rogue against the Game Master.
Right.
We don't know if this is actually what the sponsors want him to do.
Okay, true, but like, it feels like this is all just a big setup for something to go very, very, very wrong towards the end game. And oh no, the Yamato have like broken out of the confines of the DGP, and now it's like a big problem.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly where it's going.
It's a game of hubris of being like, how long until everything comes falling apart?
And I get the feeling Gardner Man and soon Buffa will both know.
Yeah.
I feel like there's still a Yamato that is above all kind of deal.
Yeah, because we get the reveal of, hey, Shiro's back and he's not quite himself. Why does it feel like all of our dead writers are actually dead and they're just skins that are being puppeteered by the Yamato?
Maybe because that's the case.
Yeah, which is incredibly fucked up.
Because Gardner Man made it a point to be like, you're the first one that has ever came back to life.
Yeah, which means they're all dead. They are all dead. Like, Shiro is dead.
Uh-huh.
He is just probably just a fucking meat puppet that is just puppeteering a bunch of lines that Yamato are like, ooh, what does this brain want? What does this one have in his brain? Oh, this line? I'm gonna try this line. How does it sound?
How many people can I freak out by doing this?
Which feels weirdly very Lupat, because Lupat had the same idea where one villain kept kidnapping people and those people were murdered, and then their literal meat puppet bodies were used by the bad guys to disguise themselves. Except in that show, they played the part of those people to like do infiltration and stuff, and it was really underutilized because Lupat is the show of this has a lot of possibility, but they do not cash in on 90% of it because it is Super Sentai. But yeah, Geet's still very good. And then before you hopped on, I talked about the new Gundam show that I've been watching that just did its end of its first half before it takes like a 3-month break to start its second half. And it didn't went and traumatized the entire internet.
Sounds about right.
Essentially, it is a dork did a real big murder in front of girlfriend, and she kind of laughed about it because aren't I a silly klutz? And it's just like, show, you're taking a very, very dark turn, and I'm gonna hope you're going somewhere with this instead of just traumatizing everyone for the sake of traumatizing everyone. Because if you're just traumatizing everyone, I'm out. I don't need that. I don't want that. I'm good. Yeah, I guess anything else on Geeks for the week?
Nah.
Oh, we got Power Builder. We got the movie exclusive buckle just in the show now. And that was about it.
Yeah.
So shall we get into Armada?
I guess we shall.
Alright, so episode 5, Soldiers, because we're just gonna get into this, because there's not a whole lot to talk about. So we have another new intro. This time it's just Rad telling us about the Transformers and the plot of the show.
Basically, did you watch the first 4 episodes? No. Watch this and you're good.
Yep. that takes us to the episode proper where Red Alert is fixing stuff and Hotshot and the kids are goofing off because the kids are 12, which I still call foul on, but what do I fucking know? Essentially, the conflict of the episode is Hotshot doesn't want to do the busy work because he's a soldier. But Prime's like, you gotta do the busy work because that's what it means. That's part of what being a soldier is. Also, there's fucking 3 of us here, so do your part. And Red Alert is grumpy about it? Kind of, but not really. This feels like it was supposed to be a Hotshot and Red Alert episode, and none of that happened.
Mainly because it was.
Okay.
And
But they
that
get
happened.
Yeah. So they get a signal that a minicon is in the Arctic, so they go to the Arctic. The Decepticons also get the signal, and they all collectively wonder where Starscream is, and they all think he ran off after the minicon ahead of them, only for him to be right behind Demolisher the whole time.
Yeah.
Put a pin in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put a pin in that. It's gonna hurt later.
Yeah.
So then we cut back to the Autobots as they show up. Apparently Optimus gets a little frozen up because of the ice, so Riddler's got to work on him a little bit. Hotshot and Carlos fuck off to go start the plot of the episode later. Also,
go start trying to figure out who decided to leave the the Decepticons early.
Yeah. They have the trailer that Prime has opened up into a command center, and it really feels like, hey kids, look at this cool fancy toy.
Yeah.
It is the most blatant. This is a toy commercial thing, as the characters are literally telling you about how cool the toy commercial thing is. It's kind of funny.
But wait, we get part B in the next episode.
Yeah. So then the Decepticons all show up together, mind you, and then they all split up. And then in a later scene, Starscream's like, I can't seem to find him. And then Gunna goes off looking elsewhere. And then all the Decepticons are like, there goes Starscream. We should follow him. What do you mean follow him?
They teleported with him. He was at the base, behind them when they were talking about him.
They acknowledged his existence at the base. Because he threatened the Demolisher with his sword.
But they're freaking surprised that he's here looking for the minicon.
And think he has any idea where the minicon is.
Whoever wrote the lines for the dub part of it clearly did not even look at the video accompanying it.
Apparently.
Clearly did not.
Because this is so far the most... This is the nonsense writing I'm expecting from this show. Of just like, we are way off track now. Because none of this makes sense.
It completely feels like they had video for the other Decepticons. And rather than them trying to come up with something cohesive, they just decided to try to string this dumb, I guess they thought it was a joke in there?
I guess.
It wasn't funny. It was painful.
Yeah. So, then essentially Hotshot and Starscream find the minicon in the side of this ravine in the icebergs. And for whatever reason, Starscream doesn't stop to hover and get it.
Because apparently he doesn't know how to do that.
Even though he did that in the last fucking episode. And he will do it in the next episode.
And I'm almost positive he technically does it in this episode, but the way the camera cuts, you can't really tell.
Yes. Also, Hotshot can do that too, as we'll see in 2 episodes. So, yeah, this starts a fight. The other Decepticons show up, so Hotshot's kind of, like, outnumbered. He has to dump Rad onto, like, a cliff in the ravine, which I'm pretty sure they show that the minicon was above Rad's head at one... Or not Rad's head, Carlos's head. It was above his head at one point because the glow was above his head, but then it was, like, down into his right, way away from him. And in the very next shot...
Actually, I don't think they did.
I swear they did!
I don't think they did, actually. Because I think the one you're thinking of was when they were coming back, or before they were coming back up, kind of deal.
Right.
And then when he got thrown off, no, I think it actually was on the cliff above it the whole time.
Okay. It doesn't help that this show is animated with a shoestring budget.
Well, it was uber quick, too. Not to mention early anime stuff kind of is bad for, you know, inconsistencies.
It shows its budget.
Yeah.
So, essentially, this starts a fight. Red Alert eventually shows up. Hotshot gets taken hostage for a second, but Red Alert saves him with his disc cannon in his chest. That's a thing that he has, and he's never going to use again in the next batch of episodes. Also, the discs are good to stand on, because he saves the kids with them later. So, more fighting. Prime shows up, more fighting. Eventually, the Decepticons all fuck off except Starscream. Starscream tries to get the minicon, but Red Alert gets it. Hotshot and Red Alert apologize kind of to each other and are on better terms, even though they did nothing the entire episode. And then we see one of the minicon, and it's there, but then he falls back asleep because, spoilers, the rest of his team's not here, so he doesn't feel like waking up. And that's episode 5. Don't worry, episode 6 is shorter. So, it's jungle. The Decepticons fail a simulation against the Autobots because they're bad teammates, essentially. Which, like, okay, if they're this bad at cooperating with each other, how the fuck have the Autobots not won?
Have you not realized how this works?
I know!
Decepticons cannot work together and form a cohesive team, meaning they can never win.
Right.
But the Autobots are too busy saving people, so they can never win.
It just goes in a circle forever.
Yeah. Not to mention, it never fails that it always seems like Optimus will only have 2 other people with him, while Megatron will always have like 3 or 4 with him.
AKA the entire cast of the show.
One of those, it's a case of, you know, sometimes there's power in numbers.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that happened. Megatron's all grumpy about it. We kept the Rat. He brings a bunch of camping stuff to the base because they might need supplies when they're out on mission, which that's actually an intelligent move. Good job, Rad. Maybe
Except for shoutouts to the dialogue about how it would be useful later, and then it's never useful in this entire episode.
Yeah. Minicon alert, it's in a dense forest, so everyone's gotta walk through it because not enough space to do the card mode stuff. Also, environmentalist message in the middle of this episode. Fucking out of nowhere.
Yeah. Out of the one character that I kind of wouldn't expect to be like that with. I
would kind of expect this out of Alexis.
Yep.
Not Rad. Brad over here talking about fucking deforestation and illegal, like, taking down of trees and all this, that, and I'm like, where the fuck is all this coming from?
Yep.
Brad?
Yep. That's kind of where I was sitting there wondering, too.
Did you get the script again? Did you steal the script again? Because I think you stole the script again.
That or he just happened to be the one with the brain cell this time around.
Probably. So eventually the Autobots and the Decepticons meet up, fight breaks out, it causes a fire. Oh no, the Decepticons kind of fuck off, and the Autobots are like, we have to stop the fire. So they tell Sparkplug to bring the trailer, which he can drive by just transforming on top of it and telling it to move.
Also, he can drive the trailer through the forest that they couldn't drive through.
Yes. Apparently, it is not wide enough for them to drive through, but it is wide enough for the trailer, twice the size as everyone on this cast, to drive through. So yeah, the Autobots rig up a water machine with the trailer and the command center mode, and the kids of the Minicons end up putting out the fire while the Autobots try to go fight or track down the Decepticons. Starscream actually tracks down the Minicon and gets it, and as it turns out, he now has big fuck you laser cannons that he shoots at both the Autobots and the Decepticons and causes a massive crater that the Decepticons just retreat then, and Starscream, I guess, follows them. And then they don't reprimand him for shooting them later. Also, the kids show up and like, "Aw, we wish we could have helped you guys." And I just look at the three of them and go, what the fuck do you think any of the three of you can do?
I mean, they can yell encouraging words. It works in Pokemon.
They start giving commands like a trainer. Optimus, use your Hadouken! Because, like, I get Transformers trying to be like, we gotta put the humans in there. They're the human element. But I also have to go, what use do they have? How are they useful? What can they do in the show? If you can't answer that question, you've failed. You have failed. Because if you can't give them something to do every episode, why are they here?
Because they have to give the Autobots something to protect so that they can fail. That way, it's not a one-sided battle because the Decepticons can't get along.
I guess.
What's bad is it's accurate.
Yeah. I just shake my head every time the kids are like, we can help, and I'm like, how? Because you keep saying that, but you keep not doing anything helpful.
I mean, they can help by not lifting the wrench that they were trying to lift in the next episode, I think it is.
Yes, because it's the start of the Carnival episode.
Uh-huh.
Look, it's a setup that Hotshot has watched spaghetti westerns of all fucking things in like 2002.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Why are we referencing spaghetti westerns in 2002? And I'm pretty sure they referenced an actor in one of these episodes. I forget. Oh, they referenced Harrison Ford in the 4th episode.
Uh-huh.
Why?
Da, 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 da.
I know why, but also still, of all the things to write in, fucking Harrison Ford reference of his role as Indiana Jones?
I mean, they're in a ancient hidden temple that they're looking for treasure.
Right.
Because there's totally not enough reference in literally the sentence I just said.
Yeah. But yeah, that's episode 6, folks. I'd ask what you feel about the first half, but I don't have nothing, because
I'm better with the first half than the back half. I'm gonna put it that way.
Yeah, at least we got progression.
We got.
I'm gonna say
we got even. I mean, even poor character progression is character progression. So
yeah.
So yeah, we got progression.
So that'll take us to our second half with episode 7, Carnival, that I forgot to write down notes for when I did notes today.
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy. Blah 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 carnival, blah 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 mini con, blah 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 ruin carnival, blah 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 day fixed, question mark, blah 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 yelled at, done.
Yeah.
I mean, we could probably go in a little deeper with that, but I mean...
Yeah. So essentially, Brad and Carlos want to go fuck off and do something. And they mention a carnival. And then that gets all the minicons to go, we want to go to the carnival! And it's like... This feels like a terrible decision on our parties involved.
Now, what's bad? We have 6 minicon, right?
Yes.
We have 5 of them go to this carnival.
Yes.
How did no one else notice?
I don't know. I'll be honest, I have no idea.
I could get it if it was just Brad, Carlos, and there too. But when the other 3 show up there too, it's like, how did no one notice this?
They were all busy fixing whatever the fuck they were fixing this episode.
So what, the minicon don't have to help?
They had their own project over there, and everyone just assumed they were busy all day.
I don't buy that.
No,
I don't buy that.
I know. Especially when Hotshot's the only one that shows up, and the only reason Hotshot shows up is that fucking Laserbeak went and told on all of them.
I mean, yeah.
Which I keep forgetting Laserbeak is a thing until he randomly shows up in an episode.
Same.
But then I'm reminded when Laserbeak shows up of like, oh right, you turn into a gun! Why don't you use that? So yeah, so Brad and Carlos take the minicons to this carnival, but since they're near a research center, they just wave off the robots as they're from the research center. Totally 100%. They're just regular robots that turn into vehicles. They are not aliens of any sort. Trust us. Eventually, Fred and Billy do the Bulk and Skull thing of they try to capture one of the minicons, and then after Hotshot and Lexus show up because Laserbeak told on all of them, Hotshot scares them off, and then they get stuck on a hot air balloon, and then Hotshot has to do a shooty thing to blow up the hot air balloon and catch them out of midair. And now the 2 of them know about the Transformers and stuff, but the kids have told him to not say anything or else Hotshot will murder them. Okay.
But you know, the rest of the people that were there near the carnival, they're free to tell anyone they want to about it.
Including the kids. So, yeah, after this, Alexis tells a lot of them, just yells at them for being very stupid, and then that's pretty much the episode. Was there some teaser about the minicon turning into it? Oh, okay. Yeah, its buddies turn into a sword, combined with it to turn into a sword, and that sword will be important. More important than every other minicon in this series, except for the other 2 times this happens. I'm not kidding. So yeah, that's episode 7. Time for episode 8, Palace. Okay, so they cut all this backstory on this minicon in this desert tribe, right?
Kind of feels like it.
Because we get the initial setup of there was a desert tribe, one of them found a minicon, they brought it, they built a temple for it, and they locked it up, and they guarded it with giant spider robots. That's what we get figured out. But there's a later scene where it's clear, this person that got the minicon is taking it to his leader, and just speaking nonsense over the top of it that has nothing to do with what's being shown. So, did they cut all the backstory?
Probably, and that's probably why 5 minutes away from the end, I felt like it probably should have been a 2-parter.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those that felt like there was more that was supposed to be said here that wasn't.
So we're off to the desert, obviously. The Decepticons are already there because they knew when the Autobots and the kids show up, the Demolisher starts sniping at them. And so the Autobots have to take cover behind a dune, while the kids sneak around and try to flank the Demolisher and yell at him, I guess.
I guess they figured if they could go yell at him, then he'd turn and shoot at them, and then I don't know where they were thinking from there.
But their minicons were them, and the minicons combine into Perceptor, and Perceptor can kick his ass. Don't think
can they?
It took on Megatron and Starscream solo and able to handle them. It can take on Demolisher.
Yeah, but that was when they debuted that they could transform and combine. Now they've lost that whole initial transformation charm there, so now they're going to get beat around like it's nothing.
Also, they have not shown up since that debut. So yeah, they tried that, but something in the desert, it is never specified what causes it, but something causes a sinkhole that takes Demolisher and the kids and the minicons, and only Laserbeak gets out of it to tell the Autobots, hey, by the way, the kids fell in the sinkhole, you might want to come save them. But that leads the whole lot of them to an underground temple, and that's where the kids run into the spider robots and Demolisher. They trick the spider bots into going after Demolisher while they fuck off and leave. They do find the minicon, but eventually Demolisher gets it. What has everyone else been doing? Fighting up top to the tune of a song for way too long for how little happens in this fight scene. It's kind of bad. It's one of those times where I'm like, people may not watch the show for the story or the characters, but they watch it for the action, right? And then I look at the action of the show and go, no. No, they won't. Because the action still sucks. You have no spectacle, sir. You have none at all. But eventually Demolisher comes up with the minicon, which, by the way, remember, he already has a minicon from a previous episode, which he doesn't have in this scene. So he joins up with this one to give him finger guns that he starts using to shoot people, and then the Decepticons fuck off, and then Hotshot has to rescue the kids that are still stuck in the temple, and then later Megatron and Demolisher start arguing about Demolisher keeping the Minicon, and therefore hijinks off screen as the episode ends. The fuck? What is this conversation they're having at the end of this episode?
They're both fighting over who gets to keep the only Minicon between the two of them, because I swear that's how this is acted.
But they both have other Minicons!
Uh-huh.
So, what is wrong with you? Like, it's one thing I feel like when we're watching a bad show, like the end of Hibiki, where it's just bad because it's just terrible writing. This show is unhinged. This is just nonsense at this point. And somehow, I'm kind of okay with it because I'm at least enjoying how nonsense this show is. And how much it just forgets random shit all the time. That is very terrible to say.
Terrible or accurate?
A bit of both. But yeah, that's Armada for the week, folks. This show continues to just be nonsense left, right, and center. Any other thoughts?
No.
All right, then Thursday we'll start Freedom Planet 2 because I feel like it. Friday
will be a thing.
Yeah.
It'll either be more Page 2 or it'll be Odyssey.
Mm-hmm. That's Friday. Saturday will be TGS as we talk about something. Probably. It's the start of the year. There ain't a whole lot to talk about. And then next Sunday, we'll continue Armada. As I hope this show just either improves or continues to stay as unhinged as it is. Like, if you're just gonna be this bad, just accept it and just start getting everyone's names wrong all the time. I kind of want there to be an episode where everyone gets everyone's name wrong. Somehow.
Yeah, that way, later on, Sparkplug can feel included.
I want one of the minicons to be referred to as Optimus Prime.
That would be funny.
I want it to be that bad, and I'm just like, I don't know, fucking Jolt is referred to as Optimus Prime randomly, even though that's like nowhere close to accurate.
That would be funny, though.
Mm-hmm.
And go the step further. Mix the kids' names into it also.
Prime is now rad.
That or, extremely funny. Have some of the Decepticons screw it up.
Yes. We need to fight my eternal rival, Alexis. Some part of me wishes that there's like some abridged version of Armada that just leans even harder to just how bad this dub went.
Oh, I'm sure someone has.
I hope someone has. I'm just like, go further. Go realize that there is fun in the fact that there is an unhinged, that this is just fun to laugh at. And just be like, go further. Go even beyond. But yeah, that is next week, folks. So if you like what you're seeing, drop a follow. Appreciate it. Chipping away that feel like go at Soon on Twitter, gets you updates on live. Next Special Point Discord and chat is also link. Drop by, say hi. See you Thursday, folks.